What's good, people? It's about that time to randomly relate reverse ranch, no hate. Now, check this out. I just had a conversation with someone. Now, I don't know this for sure, right? But this person told me that they got word that the fight between Wilder and Fury is postponed, right? That it's supposed to take place in October now. Okay. Even if that's the case, right? Maybe someone has COVID, maybe not, who knows? How long does it take to get this out your system? I mean, how for somebody to say the fight being postponed to October, I mean, is it based on because this person has COVID? You understand what I'm saying? I don't get that. Now, does Fury have COVID? You understand what I'm saying? So this is information I haven't seen myself. So I'm just putting the word out. But let me just say something, and I want y'all to pay attention to this. Every fight, every big fight, no matter what they talk about, what's talked about, the venue, the size of the venue, all that. You want to know one of the first things they bring up, which is something that I really don't care to discuss or know, because I really don't care about that information, but always talk about who's getting what, how much money this fight's generating, how many pay-per-view sales, and how many pay-per-view buys. If you notice something, you didn't hear any talks. You've heard rumors. You've heard people saying, I think. No. Nobody's talking about what Wilder's getting, what Fury's getting, right? Nobody's talking about, how the pay-per-view is selling. Do you really see this fight being promoted? Do you turn on ESPN or, FSN or any sports network, or do you see commercials about it? No. No, you don't see any promos, nothing. Point that I'm getting at is, this fight could very well be postponed because it's just not selling. I mean, Teofimo Lopez had his fight, postponed 4 different times. And it was the same excuse, COVID. Why? Because you can't prove that somebody has COVID, and you can't look at them and tell. You can't just say, you can think, you can believe them or not believe them, put it that way. But you can't prove that they have COVID or not, right? So it's like, that's the go-to excuse. How do we know that that's not the case? Because think about this, right? 2 weeks out. By now, you should have heard it's a sold-out fight, sold-out arena, jam-packed, standing room only, or some shit like that, right? The pay-per-view was... No, we heard Floyd Mayweather and Logan Paul talk about they broke the internet. People was trying so hard to order the fight. The internet was like fucking up, and everybody couldn't get the fight, and they sold over 1 million. You're not hearing no numbers about this fight. None. All right? If you're not seeing a fight, especially a so-called big fight, being heavily promoted, everybody's talking about it. You understand what I'm saying? You turn on the TV, they're talking about it. You go on the internet for something, they're talking about it. They got posters up about it. They already got commercials about it. Right? They're doing their little video packages. 2 weeks out, you don't see any of that shit. Nothing. All you have is one guy who just won't shut up and constantly make videos talking about the same lame shit over and over. And another guy who kind of disappeared. Once in a while, you see him talking, but not really nothing. There's no real excitement, no hype about this fight. They had one face-off, nothing happened. It's not even being, like, it's a dead feeling to this fight. Now let fanboys tell you, oh, this fight's selling itself. Really? To who? And let me just tell y'all something. Every day at work, every day in my travels, the most I hear people talking about is basketball, MMA. I don't hear anybody talking about Fury and Wilder. And if this fight, let me tell y'all something. People they don't want to mess their money up. The only person I know stupid enough to turn on $100 million is Wilder. But at the end of the day, $120 million. Let me don't forget to add that $20 million, to that 100. People are not ready to mess their money up. If this fight was selling, and this was a situation where they got a packed house, do you really think about it? That's how you get exposure, through promotions. All we have is a bunch of people coming on YouTube channels talking shit. and then one of the parties involved just coming on talking shit. That's all we have. And I'm just saying, I'm thinking about that because there's other fights. I mean, there's other fights that's been going on and taking place. I mean, even Julio Cesar Chavez came back and fought. They're talking about Oscar De La Hoya coming back and fighting. And even for the dates that Teofimo Lopez fight was supposed to happen was on those dates. You mean to tell me you can't compete with Julio Cesar Chavez Sr.? You mean they'd rather come out to watch a 50-something or 60-something-year-old man instead of you? I mean, like, seriously, think about it. And then the rumor that I heard was that he may be on Oscar's card as a co-main event. So you mean to tell me Oscar's going to come back and he's going to be the main event? He's going to be the A-side in this shit? A man been out of the sport for over a decade. Here you are, a young, fresh champion, and he's going to outshine you? So think about it, right? Fights, when they get postponed, and they don't get that promotion, they don't get that boost, it's always the same thing. COVID, 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 COVID. Now, it could be true, and it could be bullshit, but it's just something to think about. It could be postponed because nobody's buying this shit. And you know, like I said, when a fight is... Okay, first off, where are they fighting? Who's talking about the venue? Who's talking about how many tickets were sold? Who's ordering the paper? Who? You don't even hear this talk. Even Wilder, who keeps talking and running his mouth in interviews, is not saying nothing. Yo, the fight sold out. And if for his millions to say, oh, this fight sold itself. Malik Scott said that same dumb shit. But if that's the case, you don't think Wilder would have, as much as he brags and talking his big ass ego, you don't think he would have said something about it like, hey, I ain't have to say nothing. The fight sold itself. Like, everybody knows what's getting ready to happen or something to that effect. No, all he keep talking about is how he want to kill Fury. He want to do more than beat him. He want to kill him and all this bullshit and all. But it just talking about the past and just lame conversations. It sounds, when he's talking on these interviews, it reminds me like of an old retired man sitting up in a wheelchair talking about how he used to run and score touchdowns back in the day with his leather helmet on and shit. Like, he's just talking, but like, there's no energy there. There's no real, nothing that make you like really feel like I want to see this fight. And that's probably what's going on. This fight is not selling. Nobody's buying this shit. Nobody cares about it. And because you have millions coming up on these channels talking and acting and running their mouths, acting like they know the score and what's going on, people get influenced by that. I personally think the fight's not selling. That's what I think. And I think that the shit is not doing what they thought it was going to do. So, yeah, Wilder's going to keep training. According to Malik Scott, they're not worried about Fury. The fight's on. And at the end of the day, if this fight is postponed, I believe that's why. Anyway, never fall in love with lies. Remember, the truth brings hate out of people. And I'll catch y'all on the next video.